Welcome back to the Macro Lounge. I am, as always, your co-host Chris Bold, and if you're new here, this is where we talk about all things bodybuilding in this part of the South Pacific, throwing a little flavour from around the world, around prep, mindset, and real stories behind the stage. And if you're listening on Spotify, make sure you hit follow so you never miss an episode, and on YouTube, click subscribe. Tap the bell so it rings and makes all those wonderful things. And of course, today I am joined by the, as always, stunning and slightly less sparkly this week, Rachel Mead, our reigning and now Oceania swimsuit professional champion. Oh, she's got the tiara. There we go.
And it's even gold, because we don't do peasant silver tiaras around
No peasant silver. Harsh, harsh. Them's fighting words. There's going to be people bringing out their tiaras and going, mine's silver.
No, okay, the silver's still beautiful. I do actually have a silver one as well. Okay, so we do still love the silver.
Excellent.
But yeah, it was quite cool that the pro ones were gold and gave a little bit of difference.
That's good. Yes. And for those of us who've just joined us today, Rachel made her pro debut at the debut. Sorry, my wife will correct me. Apparently, English people very frown on the pronunciation of that word. In the ICN Oceania Champs this weekend down in Christchurch, which was a bit of a pro-am, really. So it was a battle, a test, if you like, between Australia and New Zealand athletes. And I would like to point out that we kicked their ass.
Yes, I don't think I heard the Australian anthem. Did we have any Australians win?
We could get ourselves in trouble, but I don't believe I heard it. I certainly didn't hear it frequently. There was a lot.
This is something we could check, but we're not.
We could check, but we're not going to, because we do have the results, but it doesn't say where they're from. So, yes, all in all, I thought we'll do a little bit of a wrap up today on that one. And then thankfully, we've pretty much come to the end of the competitive season here in New Zealand. We've got one more show with the IFBB, Most Muscles, coming up next week. That's a pro-am, pro men's physique and men's classic physique. Then we've got, sort of wrapping up our end of the season, we've got some people from ICN going to the World Champs in Dubai. I think there's a team of about 6 going over there, not from our particular team. And then we also had Team Bold here. We actually have Fiona Crawford going over to compete at the NPC Euromasters in Milan, which has been her target all year. So that's very exciting. She leaves on this Sunday, actually. So that'll be fun. Second time over there for her. So, Rachel, you had a good weekend, I hear. Well, I don't hear I was there. I would like to point out that I was there, not only in spirit, in style, if I must say so myself. I was dapper, as we got told. Dapper is the word that we will use for the day.
I think we need to have a chart that counts how many times you get called dapper at a show while wearing the suit.
I could get that printed on a jacket. It could just be dapper all over it, and then maybe put some sequins and sparkles in it.
Maybe we need to change the team name to Team Dapper.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're talking.
So the highlight of that suit, for those of you who didn't see, was the fact that Chris did actually colour match my outfits. So I went for a blue theme for the Oceania, and Chris did a fantastic job of doing a colour match, and the shade was it was on point, especially with the runway dress. So he did a very good job.
For a colourblind person, I reckon I did pretty damn good on that one. I was like, and we got a lot of comments on. We got a lot of comments on that. We're like, did you guys do that on purpose? I was like, what? No, of course not.
Accidentally showed up in the exact same shade.
In the exact same shirt, in the exact same colour. And as always, a different jacket, because you can't wear the same jacket to the same show. So I'm kind of screwed next year. I've set this pattern now. So it's like, I'm going to have to get a wardrobe sponsor, Rachel. That's what I have to do.
I think so. Where do you get your suits from?
I got that one from YD, actually. Embarrassingly enough, I have to point out that it was a XL, which made me feel right, not, well, one could say in bodybuilding terms, great. And then the other part was I was thinking, man, I really need to go on a cut. But yeah, I usually buy most of my jackets I buy from Working Style, because I like the cut of those. But YD they make good. I think they should sponsor us.
Working Style, YD, please flick us a sponsor so that we can keep Chris looking dapper.
Exactly. It's all about the Dapper show today. All in all, so we made it down in time to Christchurch for once. We actually got there ahead of time, got there ahead of registrations, which was a rare occasion for us.
We are usually a little bit late to things, both Chris and I.
I can point out that generally, although as soon as I say this, I know one person who's going to send a message very quickly. Generally, I'm not late, and the only time I've ever been late is when I'm with you. So there's a common denominator here, and I'm going to say it's Rachel's fault.
I'll take that.
No, we got down there in plenty of time, which was good. And that was the last final show for the ICN team for the year. It was, again, held at the Aurora Centre in Burnside and Christchurch. Really nice stage down there, really good lighting, music. And it's a really good venue just to watch shows because of the way that it's laid out. And it was interesting seeing that New Zealand versus Australia type thing that was going on. And it was interesting. I kind of expected more from the Australians, and no disrespect, these guys were all, they were all good. But there's something, and it goes back to years of even within the NZ IFBB when we had Australians coming over when we were doing pro-ams. Even to a certain extent just recently with the natural pro qualifier, there is this kind of attitude from Australia that they come to New Zealand and kick our little Kiwi butts. And it doesn't happen because they normally go home with don't need extra luggage. And I'm okay with this.
Yeah, no problems there with having a few more Kiwis on the podium.
No, it was good.
No, that's true. It was really cool to be like facing people that you haven't gone up against before, because obviously New Zealand's a very small country. Usually kind of know who you're up against, you know who's coming to the show. So it was quite cool to know that there were an unknown number of Australians who were going to show up and we don't know who they are. So that was cool, scary, but cool to have some new people kind of coming in. Yeah,
it was interesting because it was obviously the ones that were coming that were essentially they had either achieved a pro qualifier or the qualifying grade, or they'd got invited from the Australian Nationals. Same happened in New Zealand. So you were dealing with a reasonably high level of athletes across all the board, across everyone. And there were standouts in each class for particularly the women's classes that really did well. And I think there was, what did we count, Rach? Something like
260. Oh, sorry, 226 entries.
226 entries, yeah. Which is that's a decent amount for the last show of the year, I thought, and across all the classes. So to have that many entrants, I thought represented really, really well. Very well spread out across all of the classes. Everybody showed up, which was cool. Like the conditioning was good. There were some interesting like little controversies, I suppose you could say. I personally, I don't know about you, Rachel, and this is not a reflection on the Federation, ICN Federation in New Zealand. I know this was the rules that were set on them by Australia. I didn't like the running format. I felt it was too all over the place, mixing. You had some of the classes, like just looking at the run sheet, you started off with some of the figure ones, jumped into bodybuilding, then jumped back into figure, and then jumped back into bodybuilding and back into figure. I know the argument was it gives some of the people time to change costumes or do whatever they had to do. I just felt that it made it a little bit disjointed, and I felt it made the show run a little bit longer than it needed to run. It was pretty much straight off the bat running about 45 minutes late. They caught up in places and they went back down. But how did you feel that flow was? I mean, you were primarily backstage, so how did you feel that went?
Well, they did the same thing at Worlds last year when I was in Australia, so that was in Canberra, and it was the exact same thing, and I find it very confusing. It was a bit easier with the pro because obviously you're separate from the other amateur classes, so it didn't affect me quite as much with the pro, but I find it very confusing to figure out where we're at because you can't just look and be like, oh, look, there's classic men's on because I can see their trunks. Because then you don't know if you're up next or if fitness is up next. You don't know who's up next. And it gets very confusing. And I think in places, it would potentially something that could have made it easier would be to have like a board at the back. Because I know in Australia, when we did it, there was like a big projector at the back. That it had
that makes sense.
Fitness 30 plus or whatever the category was, which does make it a little bit easier to see. But yeah, it is an Australian thing. I do find it difficult, and I feel like it would make it harder to judge too because you're jumping around categories rather than just having your mind on one thing. So sorry Aussies, we do disagree with you on that one.
Yep, no argument here. As I said, I felt that it made it run a little bit longer. It could have probably flowed a little bit better, just from getting the classes through a little bit more.
It makes it stressful quickly backstage too, because you are stressing constantly about how long do you actually have, because you don't know who's on and who's on when.
Okay, to be fair, it wasn't that stressful for us. What time did we actually show up?
Oh, yeah, no, I mean, yeah, but, like, when you're there, like, from other people's perspective as well who are on earlier in the day, it was very nice afternoon for us, because I didn't get on stage. The estimated time was just before 3. I think I ended up, nearly 5? Like, 4:30?
The first one you were on about half an hour late, but it wasn't too bad. Let's just say we had a nice leisurely morning.
Gave me plenty of time to finish my runway dress.
Yeah, which was good, because somebody needed a little bit extra time in the morning, but we don't want to point them out. So... yeah, so they had all the classes in there. The classes were smaller than they probably had been in regionals, I thought, primarily because of the qualification to get there, as in you had to either be, my understanding is, and I'm sure I'll be corrected on this, is that you either had to have a PQ from nationals or you had to have won your class. Was that correct?
Oh, I'm not actually sure about the one your class, but you could do it if you had a PQ from Worlds as well. So I technically could have just jumped straight into Oceania this year and not done nationals or regional, because I could have just gone straight there because I had a PQ. But yeah, I know that you had to do nationals, which means you obviously had to do a regional. So you had to do a regional and nationals to be able to qualify for Oceania.
Yes, so obviously the numbers were a little bit restricted because of that. And I think potentially going forward, that's something that perhaps ICN in New Zealand and Australia, I know they're restricted by the governing body, same as any other federation is around the world.
But do we want the numbers too high? It's like the argument of like the Arnold, for example, only having 10 competitors.
Yeah, I think at an amateur level you do, because the reality of it is that the promoters that put on these shows so you athletes have a platform to perform on, they're financially pretty much driven by your entry fees. Because let's face facts, it's not exactly a riveting day of entertainment for people unless they know and love you dearly. So most of the income that they will generate, which they obviously try to put back into better venues, better lighting, better, and we'll talk about that a little bit later as well. It comes from the entry fees. So if you're restricting your entry fee and you're putting it in a premium location, it makes it a tough pill to swallow for that promoter in the next year. If they turn around and say, okay, well, we're going to do another Oceania, which I believe they announced for next year is going to be back in ACT in Australia. For the team in New Zealand, when they're putting it on, they're going to be kind of thinking, we're capping it at X number of people. I don't know, maybe a more of a pro-am format might be a good idea, just to bring the numbers up. Maybe it's not the right time of the year to have it after both the nationals, because it's a long time. I know sometimes they struggle with that with Mo's Muscles, and generally because the later part of the year, a lot of people are like, I can't diet for another 7 days. You're like, suck it up. I don't know, maybe that's a thought. What do you think?
I mean, I do feel like with the timing, it was quite good to know that if let's say you came second maybe at nationals and you just got beaten by that one person. That person's now out the way, and now you can take it out at Oceania. So that was something I was kind of thinking about all year, like, okay, cool. So yeah, planning to do Oceania, because just in case, if nationals doesn't go as we would like it, Oceania, that person is out of the way.
Yeah, it's an interesting concept, and I think it needs some fleshing out in order to make it. And I think it needs probably in the qualifying thing, like who can actually compete, but also I think like the pro side of it, like the pro shows included in it, I think that needs some thought put into it as well. But again, as I said, it was a really, I thought it was quite an enjoyable show. People actually seemed to look like they were really, the athletes looked like they were really having fun. The vibe was pretty cool. Nobody died from the smoke effect, so this is also a benefit. Nobody fell off the stage, almost fell off the stage this time, or forgot where they were going, Rachel. But oops. So first up, we had we'll just focus on Rachel today because it's the Rachel show. It's been the Rachel show all year.
All right, we do need to have a couple of honourable mentions.
Okay, honourable mentions. We'll start with them then.
Obviously, these are the sparkle categories. Sorry, boys.
Sorry, there was anybody else there?
That's true. So honourable mention to Maki, who has won the Miss Fitness Pro Show after debuting in ICN this year, taking out the regional, and then taking out nationals, and now taking out the Pro Show. She is undefeated. She
is, yeah. That was an interesting battle too, because she was up against the reigning world champion in that one.
Yes.
Who, to be fair, monstered Maki. She was considerably taller, considerably denser, particularly in the upper body. Oh, God. This is why we print these things off, Christopher. Abby. Yeah. But Abby was probably not as ready as she wanted to be, condition-wise. She was a little bit soft in the lower body. I mean, all in all, presented beautifully. I mean, particularly when she was standing over the side and slightly in the shadow lights, and it was like, damn! She looked like the Marvel superhero character, but I think her conditioning she was just not as crisp as Maki was. And again, she is so lovely. Like, I just love her genuine emotion when she gets awarded a place. It's like, she just loses her shit. It's great.
Well, it's just amazing because she just didn't get rewarded previously with other federations. So it's really cool for her to find her place because she is a boss. Like, you see her stage shots, she is a boss.
And we talked about a little bit while we were on our way home. It's like, well, has she now set the standard for that category in ICN, because as I mentioned, she doesn't actually have a place in IFBB because she's too muscular, she's too hard, she's too conditioned, but she's too small for figure. She's way too big for bikini. So now that she's had this success in ICN, is she now the benchmark? Is that what that category in particular, is that what they should be aiming for?
It is interesting because, yeah, we did have this discussion before with sometimes the fitness girls can look almost figure-ish. Like, I think Abby is probably very close to bordering on figure. Like, she could probably slot into figure and do very well. So it would be interesting to see if she's planning on doing that. I believe Maki is actually planning to potentially look into doing figure.
I could see that.
So, yeah, it is a little bit interesting to see. Yeah, there's kind of two different looks that often get rewarded in fitness. It's borderline figure with a bit more bikini style posing, or there's Maki who, yeah, she's her own category.
Her back pose is just like, damn. It's like, that's just not right. It's just wrong.
Yeah, I mean, it's athletic bikini, which I actually think is what fitness should be. Is like athletic bikini, is like shredded bikini.
Yeah, with six packs, but we'll talk about that later. Don't get myself in trouble. What else did we have? There was other honourable mentions.
Brooke O'Keefe got her wellness pro card, finally.
She did. And her lovely posing coach, Beck Williams, showed up to surprise her, which was awesome to see. I love Beck's whole coaching philosophy and how she works with posing. But yeah, she had her whole team there. And it was really good. Again, genuine emotion about winning finally winning that class. She looked amazing. Her conditioning was, again, another level up from what it was at Nationals. Had a bit of a chat with her coach, Darren, who I've got a lot of time for, a lot of respect for Darren. Her conditioning still needs to come up. To step up to that pro level, she's going to have to bring up the conditioning in her lower body. And I know that's just going to take time because she's got the shape and everything.
She's got the mass.
Yeah, she's got the mass. And she's got the sparkles. That's the main thing.
She does. And she had her beautiful green power suit.
Yes, we like that. We like that suit. And of course, she had red hair. So as we've discussed, there is no choice. You're a stage fairy. You just have to go for the green. Yeah,
guys, if you ever ask me what color you should wear and your hair is red, I'm going to tell you green.
Yeah, it's pretty much like and even for a red-green colorblind guy like myself, I can tell you the same answer. So
amazing work from Brooke. So it's really cool to see her finally get her pro card because she has been working to it for a couple of years and been just off. So it was really cool to finally see her get it. Also, you had Taylor, who was another one who's been around for a little while, getting her pro card in swimsuit.
Yeah, she did. That's probably not the category I expected her to get her pro card in, to be fair. She has, we told her backstage, it's like, if you look at a bodybuilding's trophy, it's Taylor's.
It's her.
That's on there. She's just like, oh, look, you look like an Oscar model. There you go. She's got that shoulder, waist. As I said, not where I would have thought she would have pulled off the pro card. Her, just mainly because I think her conditioning's a little soft. I think her best conditioning that she's presented this year was actually at the first show of the year. She's kind of softened out a little bit. But she's just, like, her silhouette, like when they come through in the overalls, incredible. It's just like, so it'll be interesting to see how she goes.
Good potential in swimsuit. That gives her good potential in swimsuit. She does need to bring up her glutes and legs quite a bit more, possibly a touch down in the shoulders for swimsuit.
I think if her conditioning was a little bit better, and it wouldn't so much be a size issue in her shoulders, but like she's got good quad shape and like her legs have a nice shape, but
just needs more of it.
I think from the hamstring glute tie-in glutes and stuff, it's never been a focus area for her. But I think if she's going to continue to compete at that ICN Pro level for swimsuit, she's going to have to bring that up.
Although she might continue working towards figure.
Yep,
we don't know.
No, we don't know.
Because her classic figure is just, that's her. But she just needs to bring the conditioning for that one.
Yeah, I agree. So that was, like, she won a pro card, and there was an interesting battle between herself and Nicole Booth, I think, for the overall. She won that one. And I thought the Open Ms. Swimsuit was quite an interesting lineup. You had Chloe Maki, who we've talked about before. We had a good chat with her backstage. She's absolutely lovely. I think her biggest issue is stage confidence. It's like she goes and hides off onto the side of the stage, and it's kind of like, you competing or you being an MC, move your into the middle. But I also think her choice of bikini it's very light colored and it kind of washes out, so it doesn't attract attention to her. And she wears a similar color in swimsuit and bikini. They both like this sort of whitish gold colour, and I don't think that really did her any advantages. Who else was in that class? Savannah, also Amelia, who had a really good show. Amelia was from representing the Pacific Islands, I believe. She did very well in this. And from Australia, Beck Whitley, who probably didn't quite get the results she wanted in swimsuit, but was a real strong second to Nicole, who already had a PQ from previous. That was a really strong lineup, that one, and all the ladies represented really, really well. Overall, as we said, went to Taylor, and she won her pro card in that. Little bit of controversy, which we'll go into. We'll get that out of the way now. This is where, okay, having been in their shoes, the judges' shoes, you have to be careful. Conditioning does not change in 5 minutes. Okay, it takes time. When you look at the results in the pro swimsuit, we've skipped a class. We'll have to go back to it later. When you look at the results in the pro side, there were some placings that had changed between the amateur side, and as far as I am aware, there is no difference in the judging criteria between the professional divisions and the amateur divisions, which is something we'll talk about as well. But there appears to have been an error was made because Nicole came second and Taylor came third, and Taylor had only previously 5 minutes prior had placed above Nicole in a round. I don't think that should happen, and I think it's something that the judges in particular, they need to be very aware of that, particularly when you're at that level, or when you're at the open level, the national level, or at the pro level. My opinion doesn't necessarily reflect on any of the judges. I'm just saying, you've got to be careful. See, I did that. I took that one for you, Rachel, so you don't have to get in trouble.
No, yeah, I do think, there wasn't long between the two classes, so it was interesting to see that the placings had switched, especially as it wasn't like it was a 4th and 5th placing that was switched, because sometimes that does happen. It was a 1st and 2nd placing, and then a pro show 2nd and 3rd placing, which kind of is a bit bigger.
Yeah, it's a little bit more
noticeable.
Important, one would say, and noticeable. But of course, we would be remiss in pointing out that the winner of the Pro Ms. swimsuit was, of course, the stunningly gorgeous and in the beautiful ocean blue colour of very, very heavily bejewelled bikini, the stunning Ms. Rachel Mead. We'll put in the soundtrack now. The crowd goes wild.
That was really cool. It was nice to, because after Worlds last year, so it was really cool to also then take out the pro show. So I'm actually New Zealand's first pro swimsuit winner and first pro swimsuit in general. I'm the second ever pro swimsuit winner.
There you go. Congratulations. Well done. Well deserved. Actually, it was that pro lineup. I actually thought was a really cool lineup. It was, you had, there were the criteria on that, which is very similar to bikini, was all fairly closely matched by the ladies. I would say that was a dominant win for Rachel. The posing side, the shoulder, waist, glute ratio. I always joke Rachel puts on a bikini and her glutes grow. I don't know how it works. It's very weird.
My partner calls me fake glutes because, when I just stand straight, I don't really look like I have big glutes.
I would never say that, Rachel, because, I have far too much respect for my own life. But it was a really competitive lineup, and I thought all of the girls right across from Bree, Beck from Australia, Taylor again, Nicole, and yourself, I thought they all represented very well. But we were remiss. We actually missed your first class of the day, which was only the amateur one.
No, that was second.
No? Was it second? Oh.
Swimsuit was first.
Oh, that's it.
Because that was a very fast turnaround. Because I came off the stage for swimsuit, and then I was like, oh, cool, I have about an hour, plenty of time to chill. And then apparently they combined a few of the men's classes, and then suddenly I did not have time, and they were telling me to be backstage, and I didn't have my dress on.
Ah, right. That's right. They jumped into some men's physique, and then they did some Ms. Fitness model.
Yes.
They did the 40. That one confused me.
Oh, something worth pointing out in swimsuit.
Ooh, yes.
I actually completely forgot to put on any jewellery.
You did forget to put on jewellery. That was actually...
No, none of my earrings, no bracelets, no nothing. So it just goes to show you can still win, even at a pro level, without your jewellery if you forget it, so don't stress too much backstage. It's a nice touch, but...
At least we didn't have the earring disaster that you had in Christchurch last time, so that was positive. But yes, and then we moved on to the...
Runway.
They threw in a couple of Ms. Fitness model classes in there. So, Ms. Runway was a good lineup in that one. I think there were, five, six competitors in that one?
6, I think.
3 of them winning the stunning Accentuate custom dresses, of course.
Yes.
Basically, everybody's seen Rachel wear one dress and they go, can I have that one? And then, so, they're working their way through the team.
They are.
Yeah, and so debuted a new dress this time, Rachel, a new design, again in the theme of the day, the ocean blue. That was very good.
Definitely, I love that colour. I was stoked with that. Yeah, that turquoise blue with the hint of green is definitely my colour. I did have a few disasters making that dress, hence why it was finished the morning of the show. Did it take me a lot longer than I expected, but we got there and it looked great. Yeah, I was pretty stoked with the look. I even had some little jewellery bits that I made for it.
I was just disappointed you didn't have matching shoes this time.
Yeah, I did think about it, but it's a lot. It's money.
Yes, it was all in all. It's a very expensive sport. It's a very expensive weekend.
The silver still works.
Yeah. So we had Pauline Messer was wearing the pink dress, I believe, from South Island. And then Anna Marie Hampton was wearing the red dress from Nationals. And, of course, you had the ocean blue stunning colour. Yeah, it was a really good lineup. It seems to be that it's sort of, I think more people now are starting to realise that it's not just a dress show, that it's like the dress has to work to the physique. And that's kind of cool, seeing that half of the competitors were wearing the style of dress that you've sort of become known for this year.
It's the mermaid skirt, people. I can let the secret out now. It's the mermaid skirt. Yeah. Have a flared skirt and it will give you significantly more shape.
Yeah, but you had Savannah in that she had that red gold number on, which the skirt part was really well done. But as we talked about, the corset was not fitted right for her and it didn't accentuate her physique. And so I think
it seemed like it was just one size too big, possibly.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the important part of this particular category. And we were talking with Beck about it as well. She was saying, you should sell those in Australia. We're like, okay. Because they do. It's a cool class because there's some elegance to it, but there's also probably not going back to the old WBFF days where it looked like, some twill that was bought for, a really bad prom dress.
Yeah, no, there's definitely a bit of strategy to it, but also it is very heavily reliant on also your posing and your presence. So that was actually something that I found quite interesting with this particular show because I might sell myself out here, but that's okay. Because obviously my other two dresses that were worn did not place in the top 3. No. So it does also show that it's not just the dress that wins. You can't just buy someone's dress who they've won in that dress and then still take it out of respect. Yeah, it needs to work for you, and you need to work as well. Like it is also your shape and your posing is very important. I think the posing is probably the biggest one that girls tend to struggle on. And
a few more of them sort of did a little bit more of similar posing that you had done in Nationals as well, which was good. But I think Anna Marie would have placed higher if she hadn't had a little bit of a wardrobe mishap. I think she got penalised pretty heavily for that. And that's unfortunate. But again, reflection on the dress wasn't exactly built for her. But
well, also reflection on please try on your outfits before you get to the show day.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
And as notorious for not trying on anything until the show day. And then because we got turned around quite quickly, she was in the same boat as me and she was rushing to get the dress on.
Yeah, it was. And as I said, I think if it had been a little bit more time, she probably would have placed a lot higher.
It would have been fine, yeah.
Yeah, and I thought her posing was considerably improved in that round. I also thought her posing, just in general, to give her a little bit of a shout out, because I know she listens. Her posing was considerably improved. I know she'd been working on it a lot in the last week. Still, I think the foundation has improved, but she's still got a long way to go to actually pose for her physique. But yeah, I thought her posing in runway and also in swimsuit was considerably more in tune with what it should be. What else do we have? The Pro Wellness was taken out by Grace Brooke. Brooke came in second there. I thought that was a really competitive lineup. There was only 2 in the Pro Show for that one. Grace, slightly better conditioning, better tone. Brooke probably had a better back pose, to be fair. But again, it's just a case of Brooke's conditioning is going to continue to improve as she goes along. So it grows in muscle mass and also brings her conditioning in. So I thought those ladies presented really well.
Shout out to Brooke.
Yeah, well done.
Very proud of her.
Yep, she did awesome. What else do we have? The show jumped around a little bit, so it was a bit hard to follow. Bikini Open, there were 7 ladies in that. It was a good lineup. Taken out from Amelia Gerand from Pacific Islands, took that out over Beck Putley from Australia. And the surprise placing in that one would have been Emily Jancy from New Zealand, who was second in Open Internationals to Rachel, and who had won the South Island earlier in the year. Yeah, I thought that was a surprise. I don't think Emily's conditioning was quite as good as it had been at Nationals. I think she was a little bit softer. But she's just got such a beautiful shape and beautiful structure. I mean, you just look at her and go, yeah, that's Bikini.
Yeah, she's incredible. Yeah, I've said it many times. Like, she's amazing. And then I know she was also sick after Nationals, I believe. So she almost didn't make it to Oceania. I think she was kind of deciding whether to do it or not that final week. So yeah, to credit to her, she still showed up, and she, as always, looks amazing. Her back shot is incredible.
Her back, and change in bikini color too. She went from blue to red,
which I was happy about.
Yeah, me too. I was like, that's sweet. Yeah, so that was as I said, that was probably more of a surprise than anything else. But all the ladies looked really, really, as I said, presented very, very well. Amelia had a nice package. I personally thought Amelia's back pose is a little weak. She's quite dominant in the shoulders, and I think her glutes are quite short, but she probably presents better overall package than, say, Beck, who from the side is a little bit flat through, that doesn't really project the glutes very well. And as I said, Emily, I thought, probably paying the results of that, of being ill. She was a little bit softer, probably retaining a little bit more water than she would want to, but still presented stunningly. So the top three of that class, I thought, were really, really cool. What else do we have in there?
Well, that was Bikini Open, then it goes to Bikini Pro, if we're skipping all the other bikini classes. There was only a couple in each of the other classes. It was smaller classes for everything other than the Open. So yeah, and then it pretty much went to Bikini Pro. Yeah,
that was and this is our podcast, so we can say whatever the hell we want, right? Nobody has to agree with us, and we can be as biased as we want without showing, without being any disrespectful to anybody. I did not like this class at all. I did not like how it flowed. I did not like the speed at which it was judged at. I felt I will take responsibility for this as Rachel's coach. I specifically brought her in at a higher level of conditioning than she had done at Nationals. So I brought her in tighter in the glutes without over accentuating the hamstring tie-in, which meant that she was a little bit leaner. We have heard from one of the judges that she was knocked down because she had a visible six-pack. I'd like to see the photos of that six-pack. I'm just going to leave it there. I felt that as a pro, you should present a superior package than an amateur. Now, this is not talking bad to any of the other 5 or 6 ladies that were competing in that class, because they were all quality athletes. They were softer. They were, in a certain extent, had more muscle in the shoulders than, say, Rachel did. They did not present the level of conditioning that I would think. They looked like competitive amateurs. That being said, we got to take it on the chin, and if I got it wrong, I got it wrong. So that's my fault as a coach. That's not the athlete's fault. She did what she was told. She complained about it a lot, but she did do it.
So I'm going to
yeah. I was shoving carbs, and you were like, I don't want to eat anymore. I'm like, shut up, keep eating. So, as I said, I thought the 4th placing for Rachel was a surprise. However, that being said, I think the Nicole winning it was great. I thought she presented a very good package. Definitely stronger in the shoulders and delts area than, say, Rachel has got more.
She's stronger, got bigger everything, to be honest, pretty much.
Probably not.
Oh, maybe
bigger
not the glutes.
Not glutes.
Hamstrings definitely.
Yeah. So I think it was a fair result in the final. I'm not saying I didn't have Rachel winning. Okay, I had her second, and I was okay with that. Nicole she's got shorter delt caps than Rachel's. So Rachel's quite long delt caps.
The struggle
is real. To get the size, it's kind of difficult. She had beautiful delt caps, and her hamstrings from the side would pop really well. Then second was Amelia Giron from the Pacific Islands. Again, really nicely presented. No quibble from how they placed, as in the sequence. Third was Emily Jancy. Again, stunning. I thought her posing was a lot better. She looked a lot more confident. Well, she's not even confident. She looked a lot like she was actually having a little bit more fun this time. She didn't quite look as petrified as she had.
Backstage, she definitely seemed more relaxed. She seemed a lot more relaxed backstage.
Yeah, which was cool. As I said, I don't want to sound, well, I am salty about it, but I don't want to sound like a sore loser, because the results are the results, and that's the sport of bodybuilding. The only person who's ever going to be happy is going to be the person that won. But I will be interested to hear the feedback that we get from the judges when it comes through. And again, that's the thing about the sport, right? You don't have to agree with everybody, and we're not here to agree with everything that every federation says. That's their job. Our job is to be disgruntled, grumpy, miserable old people. Moving on. How did you feel? How did you feel about the day, Rachel?
Well, overall, it went really well. The bikini was interesting. Again, everyone looked beautiful, so it's not to say they didn't. It was just a little bit confusing on what they were actually looking for. We are going to be going back to the drawing board to study the pro winners. I know I can't speak for Chris, but I know I've been mostly looking at who's getting their pro cards. So yeah, probably need to look more at what are they rewarding at the pro level for ICN, just to kind of get a clearer idea of what we need to do for next time. And then, yeah, we come back, we tweak some things, put on some more size, because I'm probably still, as we said, need some more shoulders, as always. The struggle is real. But no, it was a really good show day overall. It did run really smoothly. There wasn't really any, hiccups other than, just getting rushed that one time between runway and swimsuit. But I think partially that was my fault. I probably wasn't there. I think I was out the front taking photos with Chris when they mentioned that was happening, so I didn't hear about it. Apparently other people did. But yeah, it went really well. Overall the show ran really smoothly again, as I'll say. And it was really cool to just be around the other people, being around Aussies, seeing how I kind of stacked next to them again. Because haven't obviously stood next to an Aussie since last year, so it's always nice to see where you stand next to other people. Yeah, pretty good overall.
Yeah, no, it was, as I said, it was a really good show. I think we learned some things as well, not just in the pro divisions, but I think also in the runway, we got a really good idea of what works. And obviously, if it comes up again in a pro show where it works, we'll do the runway again. If it doesn't, you might just have to retire a tiara on that one. And as you said there, you'd been watching the people that have been winning their pro cards, whereas I'd been sort of probably watching the ICN Pro shows to see what they were rewarding. We would also be remiss in not mentioning the other pro winner of the day and who won a pro card and also won the pro. That would be the lovely Stephanie Caruso from Queenstown, I believe. Queenstown? Yeah, she lives in Queenstown. She took out the Ms. Sports Model Open and then went on to win her pro card there. I think that's a really cool class for her. I think it just suits her muscularity. She gave me a little bit of stick the other day. She said, "Are you going to tell me I have to be better conditioned?" And I went, "Yep." So you can take that as I lived up to my end there, Stephanie. I said, yes, you need to be good.
Speaking of winning pro cards, also, again, shout out to Nicole, who actually got her pro card in swimsuit. So getting that top 3 placing in the pro show got her pro card officially.
Excellent. Yeah, of course. Yeah. So all in all, I thought that was a really good show. I think they as I said, lighting was good, music was good. Backstage was a real good vibe, and it was actually also interesting to see there were a couple of the Australian coaches came over as well. Richard Collingswood, I think, was here. Beck Gwilym from the Australian Posing School. It was cool to have her here as well. She's awesome. So is Richard. If you follow Richard online, he comes up with some real pearlers. So yeah, that was good. Also, obviously going on this weekend was in the Palmerston North was the Shane Hunter's NZ IFBB Tournament of Champions, which had an amateur show and a pro show. Shout out to one of our team, Naomi Clayton, who did really well in her debut in Fit Model. She did awesome. Got a silver and a bronze, so well done to her. I thought the pro show was stacked, actually. I'm watching the live stream. The judges had their work cut up for them. You could see Forward and Mo were putting them through their paces. There was a good representation of athletes across from, obviously, primarily from New Zealand. There was also, we had a couple of Australians in there and a couple from further afield. It's hard for them to get these pros to come down to New Zealand to compete. It's a long way for them to come. It's expensive. I would expect that they would get more Australians because Australia doesn't do pro shows. So, it's only jumping across the ditch. So, honestly, I think in that realm, Australia needs to sort their whatever out and actually get on a plane and come over. Because they always like to talk smack about New Zealanders and they talk smack about their posing and talk, about their conditioning and stuff.
Well, it's a frequent complaint that they don't have any pro shows because they haven't had pro shows in Australia for years, and that they have this massive bottleneck because they only get 2 pro cards per year for the entire of Australia.
Yep.
So yeah, it's a frequent complaint. So I was very shocked to see that there was 2 Australians.
Yeah, 2, and they weren't on their game. They were.
No, I was very surprised at Alex.
Yeah.
She's been to the Olympia before, I believe. I think she was the first ever Australian to go to the Olympia.
Yeah, they just
for Bikini. But yeah, her back shot was not where it usually is.
Yeah, it was.
Her front shot is phenomenal, though. Her front shot is it's Issa.
Yeah. No, it is. I thought, going into that show, there was always, everybody's was watching Kate Carroll. She was obviously the front runner, the favourite going in. But as you know, in bodybuilding shows, I mean, favourite doesn't mean jack because it depends on the day. But with her experience and the package that she brought at the Olympia, she was always going to be hard to beat. I thought she was a little bit fuller than the Olympia. I actually thought her back shot looked a little bit tighter. She looked good. The surprise of the show to me was Jamie Wu. She came out. And
I love Jamie's physique.
Yeah, I was like, damn. Yeah, her back shot was just you could argue that she won the back shot, I thought.
Yeah, I have heard that from a few people. Yeah, her back shots, she's got those really long tie-ins. Yeah. It's just, and then her glutes are so full. She's got great glutes. And then because she's got like a longer torso as well, very tiny waist. I love her physique. Absolutely love it. I think she often gets overlooked, I think.
Well, she's downsized a little bit too recently. I mean,
she has. I think probably for balance.
She was getting too big, too muscular, and she's really pulled that down, which is really impressive. I thought a couple of the other girls that were making their pro debut, Lily, I thought she looked good. She looked a little timid, I thought, in her posing, particularly her front pose. I wasn't I think almost like she was surprised she was in the first call out. She was like, oh, shit.
She probably was.
He probably was. I thought Rochelle looked stunning. I really, really like the work that Rochelle's done in the last couple of years.
I think her look was something that they would reward in the US.
Yeah.
Is my kind of argument with her placing.
Yeah, I would say so. I would have had her ahead of Lily, to be fair.
Yeah.
Her posing was a little awkward. To be fair, most of the New Zealand girls, I don't know why their posing was not as good as it could have been. But they all presented really, really well. Obviously, you had Sian making her debut after just winning her pro card the week before. She looked a little bit softer, a little bit tired, maybe. But again, you're standing up against some reasonably seasoned pros. I thought the interesting was, everybody talks about how tiny Kate is, right? It's just funny. It's like when you see her by herself on stage and you see her photos, she's balanced. To be fair, probably could place higher in the Olympia than she has. And the work that her and Frank have done over the last couple of years in particular to sort of fill her physique out, like she's growing in the right places. But when you see her by herself, she looks like she's ticked all the boxes, right? She's like boom, 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 boom. And then you stand her next to another athlete and you realize that she's this tall. That's the problem, is they all say that she looks too small, but she only looks small when she's in a lineup. And there's nothing you can do about that. They don't have height classes in the pro levels. But when you saw that lineup, I mean, Lily looked like she was freaking 7 foot tall next to Kate.
I will say though, that's something I would compare Kate with Ashlyn Little, who came second at the Olympia, because Ashlyn Little, she's little. She is like 5 foot nothing as well. So that was a huge issue for her for years. So I think probably Kate needs to take almost a similar approach. Unfortunately, it does mean she has to get a lot more jacked than a taller bikini competitor probably would be. Because, you just need so much size to stand next to the taller competitors.
And it's, as I said, when you're by yourself and when you see the photos and videos, it's like she's ticking all the boxes, and you're like, and it's like originally when I'd seen the lineup videos, I was like, Kate was actually lucky. And then when I saw the one-on-one ones, I was like, nah, it wasn't even. That was not as close as it looked in the lineups. But it was a really good lineup, and as always, Shane puts on him. He really goes to town. Like the goodie bags are like epic. You damn need the extra carry-on to take them home. Or the tiaras
There was only 1 point difference between Jamie and Kate.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, it was 1 point.
A few of the judges win. That's close.
So I think it was very close between Jamie and Kate.
And as it should have been. It should have been. It was close. But as I said, Shane put on an awesome show as always. Unfortunately, couldn't be there this year because, pro debut had to go one way. But it was, the venue is really good. The theatre in Palmerston North, lighting was good, sounds good. And as I said, Shane pours his heart and soul into the show, and I take my hat off to the work him and his family do in putting that together. So well done to them. Hopefully we can time it right, Rachel, and we can go down next year and watch it, which would be cool. We'll see how it goes. What else have we got going on this year, Rachel? I think we've got 2 shows left. We've got, for the ICN crowd, they've got the Worlds coming up in Dubai.
I have to give up my
16th
title.
of November. Yeah, well, flying to Christchurch was bad enough. I don't think we could quite stretch the team budget to Dubai.
No, I wish. If anyone wants to sponsor me to go to Dubai, sure.
Hang on, I've just given you all these cards. Don't tell them that now. That means we'll have to reverse. And then, of course, as I mentioned earlier, we've got the always stunning Fiona Crawford heading off to Milan in the NPC Euromasters, where we hope she'll do very well. That's a really good environment for her. Her physique is more European orientated. She's a little bit bigger, a little bit harder, a little bit fuller than what they look for in this part of the world. So she did well there last year. She came in, I think, 6th out of a very, very large lineup, which was awesome. She was happy with that, so we'll just see how that goes. But yeah, it's been a pretty good year. This is the last wrap-up we're going to do because we're actually bored shitless of it as well. I mean that in jest. But this is our last wrap-up, I believe, Rach, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, no, because we won't be at Mo's and we won't be at Wells, so no point in wrapping those up. Yeah, so we're pretty much done for the season now, which is really exciting. One thing actually that I would like to say, Chris doesn't know I'm doing this. I've talked to Val about this, but this whole year it's been really funny because I always feel really bad being Chris's client and feeling like I'm not making the improvements to do Chris justice as a coach. Because I prioritize my work and making sure everyone else gets their bikini. So I don't tell Chris, sometimes skip my workouts and cardio, to make sure everyone gets their sparkles.
This is my surprise face.
Yes. So it was really cool to still be able to pull out such an incredible package. And honestly, like, it was great for me to be able to do Chris justice as a coach because I've always felt really bad about it. So I'm like, I don't know if I should do a comparison because I don't know if the improvements are going to be as significant, and I want Chris to look good. But then, yeah, now we have, and it's great. So I just need to say that. I always feel like people are looking at me being like, she should be improving more, and I'm like, it's my own fault.
Yeah, but you did improve, and you put
did
up
improve
a post the other day,
a surprising amount.
Yeah, it was like, okay. No, I was very proud of everything you put in this year. I mean, you took over a new Accentuate last year from your own Spellbound. You bought a house, moved, all that sort of stuff. So we knew it was going to be probably not as focused a year as we would want, but that's okay. And the thing is, you adapted. I'm really proud of having you on the team. I've always said that you are an amazing young woman and an amazing young athlete, and I think the future is yours to do what you want with it. And so I look forward to seeing what you do, if not next year, but the following year. We'll see. But
I still say all credits to Chris for my results for this year because I don't know how the hell it happened with the amount of bikini priority I was doing. So all credits to Chris, and I am probably the reason he has no hair.
Actually, that's not far from the truth. Now, see, the trick is, Rachel, is I give you a program knowing full well you're not going to do all of it. So I program the stuff that I say, I know that this, and this will get done. This won't get done. So the trick is to make you think you're doing less, but it's actually you're doing exactly what I think. See,
actually, yes, that is another very interesting point that I need to put out there is somehow Chris has been spot on with everything. Like, he's like, okay, so for this show, we're going to be at this way. For this show, we're going to be at this way. And it's just happened each time. We just hit it, and there hasn't been any like, oh, I don't know if we're going to get there. It's like, it happened. Okay.
Yep. It's like, oh, surprise. No, I think it's been a really good year for us as a team.
Did
not
you
just
know?
Bold Physique. Yes. No,
this is my
not.
first time I've had a second season with a coach.
Excellent. What are you trying to tell me? She's got carbs now. Now she's stuck. Yeah, no, it has been 2 years, and it's like it has. Yeah, it's been
well, it's good because now you know exactly how my body responds. That's what I mean. Like you know how my body is going to respond, and it just happens, and I don't have to worry about anything. It's very stress free. I don't have to use my brain.
I know, it's just like ESP. But I think all in all, the season in New Zealand was an interesting one. It appeared to me that numbers were down a little bit, I thought, in the female categories in particular. But I don't think that was necessarily reflected in the quality across all of the federations. Obviously, we mainly focus on the ones that we deal with, the IFBB and the ICN. But I think in the federations in general, that the upper level of athletes was there. The competition was there. There were really, really stiff competition at that higher level of open in both IFBB and ICN. So that was really awesome. And I think we've seen a few athletes come through that are like, it's going to make the next year or so interesting.
Natalia.
Yeah, Natalia. But I think that, and Tasha as well.
Yes, definitely Tasha.
ICN. I think the future is bright for people. And if you're looking at competing, don't wait. Start focusing on it now. Find yourself a coach.
For those of you listening, Chris just gestured me as in him, by the way.
Me as in him, yep. And find yourself, start now. It's, this is a cool sport. It's not easy. It's, it's full of its ups and downs, and it's got a few price, dollar tags attached to it.
A few,
yeah. But it's one where everybody can excel to a certain level. What a lot of my team have heard me say time and time again, I do not care where you place. This is not about medals. This is not about pro cards. You will never see me update my social media and say that I have won X number of places. I've not done that in 35 years. I'm not going to start now. This is about you being a better version of yourself when you get on stage. So it doesn't matter where you end up as long as you were better than when you started the season. So we have, as I said, we've finished the wrap-ups now. We won't talk about competitions again for a little while. We've got some really cool guests lined up. We've already got one in the bag, which we will release after this one. And then I think next week we've got another couple that some that people won't expect us to be talking to, so it should be fun. But if you've got any suggestions of people you would like us to interview on the podcast, please send us a message at the macro_lounge_podcast on Instagram, and either Rachel or myself will get back to you. Anything you'd like to close out the competitive season there, Ms. Mead?
We will do a podcast on reverses because I feel like that is going to be something that people are going to ask us for very soon. Because we are doing a lot of people are reversing now, and I think I will just close off with a little tip on that. Just be smart about it. You can still be flexible. If you need it, that's absolutely fine. You don't have to go 100% on it. Sorry, Chris. But if you need it...
Again, expectations, Rachel. Expectations.
If you need just that little bit of extra, just be smart about it. Like, allow yourself enough freedom that you won't go overboard. You should know yourself better than most others, in theory. So, find that sweet spot where you're getting the balance of this is how much extra food you kind of need your body to be sane, and to not be binging, because that is a huge thing for competitors, especially this point of time post-show. This first week or two post-show is huge. So give yourself the fuel so that you don't want to binge. If you're not hungry, you're not going to binge. So give yourself the fuel, but also be smart about it. Don't keep a packet of donuts in the house. Eat smart foods. It doesn't have to be 100% clean, but eggs on toast, for example, are my favorite post-show treat.
Shocking. Completely surprised by this. No, actually, Rachel's 100% right. Prep doesn't finish when you get the medal and walk off stage. Prep finishes probably 6 to 8 weeks later. So we'll do an episode on reverse probably after we do this next couple of rounds of interviews, so we'll get that out the next week. But again, thank you very much everybody for listening. As I said, it was a great weekend across the board in bodybuilding in New Zealand. But that's it for today's episode of the Macro Lounge. And if you liked what you heard, make sure you hit follow on Spotify and subscribe on YouTube. It actually does make a huge difference to more people be able to follow us. It's easier for them to find the show. And of course, if you want to catch some of the outtakes, and I think they're called magic highlights, according to Riverside, you can find those on at macros_lounge_podcast. So thanks for listening, and we will catch you next Saturday.
Enjoy.